All right, so welcome back to the YouTube channel. I haven't done these type of videos in a while, but it's News FL, and yeah, this is my playoff bracket, and I'm gonna give an explanation to all my picks. So yeah, let's just quickly give a rundown. The wild card at this playoff bracket will start coming to fruition, this weekend with the wild card and then the divisional and then the AFC and NFC championship. Then they have a week off for the Super Bowl 58. Yeah, 58 in Vegas. So yeah. But anyway, let's start. Obviously, the Ravens are the 1 seed in the AFC. The Browns are the 5th seed. The Texans are the 4th seed. The Dolphins are the 6th seed. Chiefs are the 3 seed. Steelers are the 7th seed. Yep, and the Bills are the 2 seed. And then in the NFC side, the Niners are the 1 seed. The Eagles are the 5th seed. The Buccaneers are the 4th seed. The Rams are the 6th seed. The Lions are the 3 seed. The Packers are the 7th seed, and the Cowboys are the 2 seeds. So yeah, let me start with the AFC side with our first matchup, since the Ravens are obviously automatically moving on with the bye. CJ Stroud is definitely a guy. He's really good in his first season, but listen, the Texans overall as a franchise, they don't have much playoff experience, and that's very important when it comes to these type of atmospheres and games. And listen, the Browns don't have much experience either, but that defense is legit with Myles Garrett and whatnot. Like, they're a historic defense. And Joe Flacco, if you remember in 2010 with the Ravens, he was quite historic, in the playoffs. So I think the Browns will pull out this one. I think the headline will be is that the Browns defense is elite, shutting down CJ Stroud, because the Texans, they don't have much talent yet. You know what I mean? They're using house money. They're young. Just like the Packers over here in the 7th seed. So yeah, but hey, future years to come, CJ Stroud's gonna be that guy. But yeah, Browns moving on, and yeah, Dolphins, Chiefs. Listen, Dolphins choked. All right, they had the potential to be the 2 seed, play at Miami, but now they're the 6th seed, and they have to go on the road to Arrowhead against the Chiefs, where it's freezing cold. And Miami obviously is Miami, and they're a hot weather team. Mahomes is Mahomes. You just know the deal. Like, the Chiefs' defense is nice. It's really good. The best defense Mahomes has had in his career. Unfortunately, Mahomes doesn't have receivers, so his offense ain't very good. But I think Mahomes could propel that, especially at home against the Dolphins, because the Dolphins' defense isn't very good. So yeah, and Tua is not going to do well against this Chiefs defense. And I don't think, and once you put Tyreek out the picture for Tua Tagovailoa, he is pretty much not going to do good at all. So yeah, I say the Chiefs pull out the win for this one and move on. Because Mahomes is going to do Mahomes things, and I think the headline will be that Mahomes does it again. Something like that, Mahomes pulls out a close victory, something like that. But then moving on, Steelers Bills is a very interesting one because the Bills play down to their opponent. And when it comes to close games, Steelers are number one in that thing. Mike Tomlin, they're very good. The thing is, recent news have told us that favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year, TJ Watt, is going to be out. Yeah, there's no chance. I mean, listen, it's still going to be a close game, but the Bills are most definitely going to win in my eyes if the Steelers do not have TJ Watt. Obviously, Mike Tomlin's going to do whatever he can do, but overall, this is in Buffalo, and the Bills are just going to win. That's just good how it's going to be. And yeah, so our AFC divisional round is Ravens, Browns, Chiefs, Bills. So yeah, I think I'm just going to keep going until the AFC side is done. So yeah, Ravens, Browns. Now, this is a scary. This is probably the scariest team for the Ravens, honestly. Like, it's a divisional opponent. The Browns' defense is very good, and the Browns have beaten the Ravens previously. The Ravens choked the lead, and I think the Browns won 33-31. That sounds right. So yeah, this is the scariest opponent for Lamar in this Ravens team, especially after a bye. So, they've all rested, but also they could be a bit rusty. But I'm going to be honest. I think this is when playoff Flacco becomes, becomes the. I think this is when it stops. Playoff everyone's going to be like, oh, playoff Flacco, playoff Flacco, playoff Flacco. Realistically, this is going to be when everyone realizes Flacco is no longer playoff Flacco. He's old man, He's off the couch and whatnot. And this is where the Ravens defense, I believe, is going to expose Joe Flacco. And I think that's going to be the headlines, that Ravens defense dominates against Joe Flacco. And I think the Ravens pull out a close victory at home in Baltimore. So, yeah. That's why I have the Ravens moving on to the AFC Championship. So, yeah. Then we got Chiefs, Bills in Buffalo. Bills are the 2nd seed. Chiefs are the 3 seed. So, yeah. And this is, listen, for me, it was based off who's going to be at home. I know the Chiefs have already lost to the Bills in Arrowhead. But, listen, playoff Mahomes is different, but in the cold weather, I mean, they both play in cold weather, but in Buffalo, listen, I think the Bills pull out the victory here. I don't know. I think the Chiefs on the road, listen, Mahomes has never played on the road before. And he's not going to have to play on the road in the wild card round, but he's going to have to play on the road for the first time this week against the Bills in the divisional round. So I think that's going to be a little bit of an effect, especially with Mahomes not doing as well this year. So, yeah. On the road, unfortunately, their first road playoff game, I think is going to be a loss for the Chiefs. I think that Bills' defense is very good, and it's going to shut down whatever Mahomes has got. Like, in all seriousness, Travis Kelce, I know he's got a very nice girlfriend now. You probably heard of her, but he's looked washed this year, and I think that's a big reason. I don't think many people have been talking about how bad Travis Kelce's been this year. Like, he's still all right, but, like, he is not historic anymore. And that's why the Chiefs were so good, because he was really that number one receiver last year. And this year, he hasn't really been that guy, So I feel like that's a big reason why. And I think people have been ignoring that because, he's got such a big girlfriend now and there's bigger headlines. But I don't think Kelce has not played well. And he's getting older, so you can't really blame him. But, yeah, I think that's a big reason why the Chiefs aren't as good offensively this year. Because realistically, the receiver core is basically just the same as last year, and Mahomes won MVP last year. So yeah, I have the Bills winning this one. It's gonna be close, of course. It is. These two guys definitely toughen out, and they butt heads a lot. So yeah, but I have the Bills moving on once again in the championship round against Baltimore. They're going up to Baltimore, in the AFC Championship. And this is where I think the Bills' season comes to an end. Listen, Josh Allen's just way too inconsistent. And this Ravens defense wins championships, and this Ravens defense checks all the boxes. Like, they're elite, they create turnovers just like that. And Josh Allen, who is very prone to making mistakes, this Ravens defense is just going to light him up in my eyes. This Ravens defense is going to expose Josh, not expose him, but you know what I mean. They're really going to embarrass Josh Allen this game, the Ravens defense, just like they did to Joe Flacco. But yeah, I think the Ravens win this game because the Bills defense might keep it closer than it realistically will be, but listen, Lamar just needs to do his job, which I believe he'll do, and the Ravens defense will just close out the game. Just absolutely, utterly demolish Josh Allen. So, yeah, that's what I think and is going to happen. And the AFC Championship is a win for the Ravens. And the Ravens are in the Super Bowl. And let's move on to the NFC side. So, yeah. All right. So, starting with Eagles, Buccaneers. I know there's a lot of talk about the Eagles, And I do see them as, that 2020 Steelers team that won 11 in a row, then lost, 4 out of the last 5 games. And that's basically what the Eagles have done this year. They started out 10-1, and then they lost, and then they were 1-5. I think, the rest of the season. So, they've lost the Cardinals, the Giants, listen, losing to the Cowboys and the Niners were okay, but then the the Drew Lock Seahawks, barely beating the Giants one time and then losing to the Giants the second time just last week, and losing to the Cardinals, like, it's ridiculous. And the fact they're going on the road to the Buccaneers' house is going to be very hard. But listen, I feel like Jalen Hurts and this team will pull something out and they'll win this game. I believe it. Like, listen, they went to the Super Bowl last year for a reason, all right? They were dominant, all right? They were dominant last year. And I feel like they can convince themselves in the head that they're still that team. And I do think they're going to pull off this win in Tampa. But it's going to be a short road for them, as you can see, when they go against the Niners in the divisional round. But yeah, I do have the Eagles winning this one. I think Jalen Hurts and that Eagles offense are going to, quiet down some critics, some media. But the defense overall is what's going to keep it close in my eyes. So yeah. Anyway, probably the most interesting game for this wild card weekend is Rams-Lions, because Matthew Stafford used to be a long-time Lions quarterback, traded to the Rams 2 years ago. Matthew Stafford won a Super Bowl with the Rams, and here we are. They're both in the playoffs now. Jared Goff also came from the Rams to the Lions, who also was in the Super Bowl, but only scored 3 points and lost to Brady in the Patriots. So yeah, I have the Lions winning this one. Like, realistically, I know a lot of people are like, oh, the Rams, they're red hot, and they're a lot like the Bills, and a lot of these wins, like, there have been ugly wins, like, they barely beat the Giants 26-25, and they barely also beat the Sam Darnold 49ers 21-20. So I don't feel too confident about them, you know what I mean? Like, listen, the difference between the Bills and the Rams is that, like, I do believe Josh Allen is the better quarterback, and the defense is better on the Bills as well. So I just have more trust in the Bills, who are still a very roller coaster team like the Rams. But I don't see the Rams beating, and a lot of people do, but I don't see the Rams beating the Lions in Detroit, because Detroit, although their defense is quite frisky and not very good, but I think that offense, like, I know who they got on defense besides Aaron Donald. Like, Aaron Donald, yes, he might create some problems for Jared Goff, but listen, they've got a great offensive line, great offense with Amon-Ra, Jameson Williams, Sam Laporta. Sam Laporta, though, I think that's something to watch. I don't know if Sam Laporta is going to play, actually, so that might be an issue. But yeah, it's going to be very close. But listen, Dan Campbell, first playoff game at home. I think people are going to be very excited, and I don't know. I just feel like the Detroit Lions have too nice of a story to end it like this, They're definitely fired up after that, ref call against the Cowboys, which is why we're moving on, to 49ers Eagles and Lions Cowboys. So 49ers Eagles, my bad. 49ers Eagles and Lions Cowboys. But yeah, 49ers Eagles. This is where the playoffs run ends for the Eagles. The defense is just dog crap. It's horrible. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles offense are not going to be able to stop, it's not going to be able to keep up with this 49ers team overall. Brock Purdy's going to have it easy. It's going to be a blowout. Yeah. The Eagles are going to get destroyed by the Niners, man. It's just going to be just like they did in like week 12 or something like that. And they're going to move on to the NFC Championship. But this is a more interesting story, and I forgot to talk about it, my bad. Packers, Cowboys. Now, Jordan Love has played like one of the best quarterbacks recently in these past couple of weeks. But listen, their team's very young. They're happy to be in the playoffs, and they could upset the Cowboys. But listen, the Cowboys, realistically, the defense is better. And the Packers with Joe Barry as their defensive coordinator, like, the defense is not very good. It does play once in a while. It's going to depend on if the Packers defense shows up or not. But I believe that the Packers defense won't show up, and Jordan Love will play well. This Packer offense will play well, but they won't be able to keep up with this Dallas Cowboys offense. So Dallas Cowboys are moving on to the divisional round against the Lions. I forgot to mention that, my bad. But anyway, Lions, Cowboys in Dallas as well, which, beating the Packers in my bracket, they're 9-0 at home, and I have them losing to the Lions. It's surprising, but honestly, what's the quote we always hear? History repeats itself, right? And yes, we do realize that the Cowboys are going to be 9-0 at home if they beat the Cowboys, or they beat the the Packers. But they barely, and based off the refs giving them the free win, the Lions were going to beat them at home. They were going to upset them at home, 21-20. But due to the 2-point conversion not counting, they lost 19-20. Dan Campbell, he's a very emotional guy. And listen, he made the wrong call at the end of that game. But listen, that emotion could also be used for strength. And I think that emotion is going to be very powerful when it comes to this game. Listen, I know Dallas wants it, but there's a lot of pressure on them. While the Lions, realistically, they don't have that much pressure. Realistically, this is their first season in the playoffs, and Dan Campbell, he's gonna want to beat up the Dallas Cowboys after the close win they managed to squeak out due to the refs. So, yeah, I think Dan Campbell. I think this is gonna be talked a lot about. This, the headlines for this game is gonna be Dan Campbell, pulls off a masterclass because the Cowboys, and the Cowboys once again fall short and miss the NFC Championship game. That's going to be the story, and that's what I think is going to happen. So I got Lions, Niners in the NFC Championship game. Now I really much rather have Cowboys here, but I just think this is how it's going to run. I think it's going to be Niners, Lions, and this is where the Lions story comes to an end. Listen, the 49ers just have too much talent compared to the Lions do. And this is going to be in the 49ers' house, I just don't think... I think Jared Goff's going to get pressured a lot from Chase Young, Nick Bosa. I think the 49ers' defense is a little bit overrated. I don't think they're good on the second, in the secondary. They have a lot of talent, of course, but I think it's overlooked. But yeah, that 49ers offense is really good, elite, and they're going to beat up on that Lions defense, which ain't very good. So, yeah, that creates the Super Bowl matchup that everyone's been speculating based off the Super Bowl colors. So, yeah, Ravens-Niners in the Super Bowl, just like the colors say they would be. So, yeah, and, yeah, I have the Ravens winning Super Bowl 58. Lamar not only wins MVP, but wins the Super Bowl, and realistically becomes a Hall of Famer. So, yeah, that's going to be great, But the breakdown for this game, we saw the Super Bowl preview, Brock Purdy threw 4 interceptions, Lamar just cooked up the 49ers defense, and I think that's just going to be something similar. It's going to be a closer game, though. But the pressure, listen, they got into Brock Purdy's head, and this is where Kyle Shanahan is going to realize that, he really needs a franchise quarterback. Brock Purdy's not the guy. Listen, any quarterback is going to look good behind those Niners players, all right? It's just the facts. And it's going to be in Brock Purdy's head, 4 interceptions against the Ravens defense, It's just yeah, I don't think Brock Purdy's going to play very well. I think Lamar is going to step up to the plate, Lamar's a very emotional guy. He's going to want to get that ring, OBJ is going to be on that team. It's just going to be a great, great story for Lamar. No one wanted him. Tough negotiations for Baltimore. And winning the Super Bowl once he got paid, it's just going to be just a phenomenal year for him. MVP, got a big contract, Super Bowl ring. Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, I think Lamar and this defense, of course, you have to give major credit to this defense. I think they're going to win the Super Bowl. So yeah, that is my playoff bracket. Let me know what you guys think. Create your own as well on Brackets Fights. And yeah, thank you guys for watching.